Hey, lady, have you ever felt like the world just doesn't get you? Well, we do.
Welcome to Cultivating Her Space, the podcast dedicated to uplifting and empowering women like you. We're your hosts,
Dr. Dominique Broussard, an educator and psychologist,
and Terry Lomax, a techie and transformational speaker.
Join us every week for authentic conversations about everything from fibroids to fake friends as we create space for Black women to just be.
Before we dive in, make sure you hit that follow button and leave us a quick 5-star review. Lady, we are Black founded and Black owned, and your support will help us reach even more women like you.
Now, let's get into this week's episode of Cultivating Her Space. All right, our quote of the day. The goal isn't to stop becoming. The goal is to make sure you don't miss your life while you're becoming. All right, T. I'm going to toss it to you.
What you going to toss it to me for now?
I mean, you know, when you hear this quote, you know how we do. When you hear this quote, what comes up for you? Because I figured, you know, you weren't going to have, with our last episode that we recorded, I knew you had you were going to have a reaction. So I felt like I needed to jump in first, right?
Yeah.
But this one, I'm like, when we think about things we've talked about offline, I'm like, I know you got something for us. So go ahead. What you got?
Oh, Lord. Now the pressure's on. Okay, so nothing profound, but honestly, I feel like this is self-explanatory. I think that what comes up for me is the idea or the importance of us being human beings and not just human doings. Like life is so precious. And I know that many of us are so ambitious. We have so many goals. We have so many dreams. But like ensuring that we're enjoying our life, we're living our life fully as we pursue those goals and dreams, you know? So that's what comes up for me as I hear that quote. What comes up for you, Dom?
You know, I think I keep thinking about Michelle Obama's book, Becoming.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And how, for me, as I read her book, it was like, but she's still so young. Like in my mind, like she's still so young. And so like this, I like the title Becoming because you're constantly evolving. Right. And it's not about like, okay, I've reached this one milestone and then that's it, that's all. It is like, okay, well, what's the next phase in life? And for me, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're missing out on the moment, but it's a reminder that we are constantly evolving, whether in small ways or huge ways, there is constant becoming.
I like that a lot. I like that. That makes perfect sense. And I want to know if you've had a moment where you got exactly what you thought you wanted or what you wanted, and you realized your mind immediately moved back to this idea of like, oh, what's the next thing? And if you've experienced that, what did you notice about that time? Because I think many of us can relate to that, where it's like, okay, checked it off and now on to the next thing. Did you notice something about yourself in that moment?
Yeah. I think for me, the thing that easily comes up is like career and work related things, right? That I remember when I earned my bachelor's degree.
Yeah,
sure, I celebrated. That was great. But I also knew, like in hindsight, like I don't think that I fully allowed myself to feel the excitement.
Yeah.
Like there were celebratory moments, right? Like the graduation ceremony itself, the party that my family threw, the going out and celebrating with friends who were also graduating. Like there were, and then me and one of my homegirls, we took a trip to celebrate ourselves. And so like it was there. So there were the moments, but I don't think I fully sat with how huge an accomplishment getting a bachelor's degree is because I was immediately going into graduate school. Like, because I already knew that there were other milestones up ahead,
Hmm.
I didn't feel fully in that. Like, I didn't feel fully
Yeah.
in that accomplishment.
Oh, girl, that's a good one. That's a good one. I feel like that takes us right into this idea of how the finish line just keeps moving, right? For many high
Yes.
achieving women, we never really actually arrive because every achievement immediately becomes the starting line for the next goal. Like you just painted the picture beautifully. It's like, okay, cool, I got my bachelor's. All right, let me go ahead and go on to grad school, right? So this could be like getting promotion and then immediately
Mhm.
focusing on the next one. It could be losing weight and then immediately finding something else to fix, or like, okay, I hit this weight milestone. Let me now get to the next weight milestone, right? Or healing one
Yes.
wound and immediately digging for another, launching the business and then immediately raising the next goal. Like those are some of the ways that it might show up for us, right?
Yeah. And you know what's interesting is that I think for me, what has happened in the last few years is that I've kind of slowed down
Mm.
in terms of chasing, like being going hardcore in chasing the goals, right?
Yes, I love that.
And so it has allowed me, there's still, now granted, you ask my friends and they tell you that I still work too much, right? And I still do, I'm still doing the most. But I haven't like said, okay, in the next 3 years, I really have not gotten like super specific on things, right? Because part of it for me was like, I need to kind of enjoy just being.
Mm.
It took a long time to get there, to get to that point, right? And I'm now moving into a space where I'm like, okay, wait, I think it's time to kind of identify some more specific things.
Yeah.
But it allowed me to like exist and just
Mm.
be. And that space has felt pretty good.
What had to happen to even get to that point? Because you painted the
Burnout,
picture of, oh, okay,
burnout.
interesting.
And it was like, wait, I've been running this race, doing all
Hmm.
of these things, and I don't even get to like fully enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, what does it mean to like fully enjoy creating this podcast, right?
Okay.
Like, what does it mean to enjoy having my private practice?
Mm.
Starting a business is a lot of work. Having multiple businesses actually is a lot of work, right?
Yes.
And so what does it mean to enjoy being in those spaces?
Okay, I'm not trying to interview you down, but I just feel like I'm so intrigued. I want to learn more because I'm thinking about the woman who has not experienced burnout, and she's like, "Oh wait, I feel like that's me. I'm super ambitious. I'm always on to the next thing, right?" I'm just wondering, like, what advice or what perspectives we might be able to share with her because I'm with you. Like I'm the same, we're very similar, right? Like it
Yeah.
takes me to get to burnout where I'm like, oh shit, I need help. I need to figure something out. I gotta slow down. But how can we help people avoid getting to that point, you know?
Yeah. So part of it is, I think, really part of the slowdown is really evaluating what are all the things that you're doing
Mm.
and how do they align with your overall values. So if work is your number one value, then yeah, you need to have a lot of time working.
Hmm.
If family is your number one value, then how much time are you really devoted to your family? And so it's really kind of stepping back to look and see where are you truly allocating your time
Yeah.
and how are you feeling in each of those spaces? And realistically, what season in your life are you in, right? Because I know
Hmm.
that there was a point in my life where I had to be in grind mode because that's what was needed in that moment.
Yeah. Hmm.
I'm not in a season now where I need to be constantly grinding.
Yeah.
And so I don't have, because I'm aware that I'm not in that grind seat, that I don't have to be. I
Yeah.
could, I'm in a position now where I could choose to be in grind mode.
Hmm.
There was a point where I had to grind.
Yeah.
And so it's about stepping back and realistically looking at what season are you in, and what choices do you have based on that season.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. And I can relate to what you're sharing too, Don, because I feel like I had those busy seasons and now things have slowed down quite a bit. And it feels goddamn good to not be hustle
Mm-hmm.
bustle. Oh, I'm trying to get this promotion. I'm trying to make a name for myself. It feels so good to kind of be, I don't want to say coasting because coasting makes it seem like we're not doing anything, but we definitely still doing stuff, but it's just like at a different level. And I don't want to
Yes.
overuse soft life, but that's what it feels. It feels more soft. It feels
Yeah.
more grounded, you know? Like I'm not like
Yes.
trying to prove something. I feel like for a lot of my career, it was like, oh, I have to prove something. I'm this, little black girl from Philly trying to make it and da da da. And now it's like, okay, I don't have to, I can kind of rest a little bit, and be more
Mm-hmm.
selective.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I like it.
And so this next thing is, what happens when becoming becomes your identity, right?
Mm,
So we know that growth is healthy.
yeah,
But for some of us, we become so attached to self improvement that we don't know how to relate to ourselves outside of it, right? Like our core identity is about, what is the next thing that I'm working on? I got this self help book, and I'm working through this book on this particular issue. Soon as that's done, I'm on to the next thing, right?
mm,
And it could be something as, okay, I only consume healing content. So who are the self-help gurus, and I only follow them. It's, if this isn't about improving my life, I don't want any parts of it. So, okay, y'all want to go have a girls brunch? Is it at the health food spot? Cuz if not, miss me.
yeah,
Oh, we're taking a girls trip? Mm, if it's not a retreat, I don't think I'm going to show up for that. Like the only vacations I take require me to be, there's going to be some self help session that's going to be happening, right?
mm,
And literally, that's the only things that I'm doing. That's the only things that I'm spending money on. If it's not about some level of self improvement.
yeah. Oh, this is good because I'm just taking this in and thinking about how a lot of my journey, because I feel like I had so much shit to fix. Like I've been through so much. It's like so much trauma, so much stuff I want to fix. And I feel like for me, when I sort of had this realization probably in the midst of my separation, Don, where I was like reading this self-help book and was processing childhood trauma and stuff. And this question just, I feel like it was, how people talk about like being in a space like this voice, they hear the voice of God, like this light, and it's like, ah, like I feel like it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't really like that, but I feel like the moment was so eye-opening where this voice, and it definitely wasn't God, because you wait until you hear what the voice said. The voice basically said, when the fuck are you just gonna let her be? Talking about
Ooh.
myself. And I just bawled my eyes out on the floor because I was like, shit, there's literally, I think about growing up and having low self-esteem and struggling with depression and being like, oh, when I get older, I want to do this to myself and fix this and do that on the physical aspect. And then there were the personality, like there were just so many things. And even after like having a child, being married, then getting divorced, at this big age, having accomplished all that I accomplished, this voice was like, when the fuck, you're in your mid 30s. When are you just gonna let her like
Yeah.
just be? And that shit was so real. Like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think I ever asked myself that question. Like, damn. And so I think for me, Dom, after that moment, that's when I really started to be like I'm still working on myself now, but it's in a different way. Like there's
Yeah.
always room for improvement, but I can't even explain it, but it's like I don't even want to say it's passive. I have to sit with it more to see what it feels like, but it's a different way. It's more healthier, and I feel like
Yeah.
I've been more in tune with the fact that I am worthy and I don't always have to be a project, you know? I don't have to be
Yes.
perfect and really just accepting the imperfections in all aspects, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That is, oh my gosh. Yeah. That you don't have to be a project. You are not a project.
Yeah. Do you think, oh, what were you gonna say?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask, do you think that sometimes healing can become a form of perfectionism?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Have you
Yeah.
seen that like in your work? Like tell me more about what you've
So
noticed.
so for me when you say that, it's it goes back to what you had pointed out that you were doing at some point in your life, right? Where it
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, I've got to find all the flaws and I've got to correct all the flaws, right?
Mm-hmm.
and and so then it becomes I need to like you have your list of things, and in order to be perfect you have to address all of these things, and that if you're not
Yeah.
perfect you're not truly worthy,
Mm.
and if you're not perfect then what are we doing? And so then what happens is that it becomes like this chasing the healing, like we said before, constantly going on to the next one self-help project after another
Mm-hmm.
is about chasing perfection.
Yeah.
And so part of it is slowing down. How do we get out of that?
Yeah.
And it's about slowing down to ask ourselves, what is it that we truly need to be working on?
Yes. Based on what we value, kind of like going back to what you said earlier
Yes,
in this
yes.
season. Mm-hmm.
Yes, because there are things none of us will ever be perfect,
Mm-hmm.
but also we will never be happy if we are consistently focused on fixing all the flaws.
Yeah. Be happy with the flaws as you continue to evolve to the next version of you. But I love that, Dom. It's like kind of, grounding the conversation is like, what do I value right now in life?
Mm-hmm.
What season am I in, right? Like, what am I optimizing for? And then based on that, what do I want to work on? You don't have to work on all the things. I'm thinking about someone in particular I know who has gotten feedback about their attitude. And so that might be something like, okay, if I notice that my attitude and my demeanor is impacting the relationships that I have around me, and it seems to be like this thorn, maybe I don't
Yeah.
work on, all the things. And maybe I just focus on like
Yes.
what's going on, like what's causing me to show up in a way where people are I don't know, my attitude is jarring to people or it's impacting people in a negative
Yes.
way. Maybe that's the thing, and not all the things. Like you can still be worthy, you still are worthy as you make progress and as you're
Mm-hmm.
becoming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh.
Now, the question that we have to ask ourselves is, who are you without a goal, right?
Ooh, girl. Yeah.
So many of us, particularly as Black women, have built our identities around achievement, productivity,
Yeah.
caregiving, and striving for the next thing, right?
Hmm.
So, who are you when you're not doing any of those things, when you are not focused on achieving the next goal, when you are not focused on producing, right? When you're
Yeah.
not focused on caregiving for all the people in your life, when you are not
Oof.
striving for the next greatest thing,
Yeah.
who are you?
That is so real, girl. You know, I got a story for that, Dom. So I'm thinking about back a few years ago when I had a sabbatical from work I earned a sabbatical because I had been there for 4 years and you get this paid sabbatical. And girl, I think it was like day two. And I was like it's just like, what am I gonna do? Like I need to find something to do. I didn't know what to do with myself. And I remember feeling like this guilt because I'm like, I am privileged enough to be in a position where I get to get paid to be on this, this sabbatical. And I am over here trying to figure out what am I going to do with myself? Like, again, who am I when I'm not working? Who am I when I don't have a goal?
Yep.
And even though I was going on vacation and planning things, I still found myself doing, like, finding stuff to do, and really sitting with
Oh, I
that.
know.
And so,
Hmm.
like, what has your experience been with that? Because that's so real. Like, who am I when I'm not doing something?
Listen, I don't listen. The idea of a sabbatical, child, I wish. I wish. Um, like 3 months paid vacation. Listen, because of where I am right now in life, oh, I would relish in that. Oh my gosh, I would relish. But it took a long time to get to that point, right?
Yeah.
Where I would be able to say that I could truly find some rest days within that
Yeah.
sabbatical,
Compared to
right?
who you were back then.
Compared to who I was back then, right? Like I could definitely sit my ass down somewhere for real. Now, I
Yeah.
think for me, the time, and I've talked about it on the podcast of like when I was recovering from my hysterectomy and I was
Yeah.
forced to sit down. And even that was a struggle,
Yeah.
right? Like I found myself as I was prepping for the hysterectomy and the time off, I was like, okay, so what am I going to do when I come like what will I have accomplished when I come back from this time off? Like I remember
Hmm.
initially thinking, okay, like I need to read this book, and this book. And I need to, like, initially in my mind, I had a list of things that I was going to have accomplished
On your break while you're supposed to be resting.
while I'm supposed to be resting, like physically resting my body. My body
Hmm.
needed to be healing.
Hmm.
I had like a list of things, running list in my head of things that I was gonna, by the time I returned back to work, things that boxes I would have checked off.
Yeah, that is so real.
Now, the reality is that that is not what happened.
Yeah,
None of those books got read,
good.
none of them. And I think having that time off kind of also really allowed me to see, oh, yes, this is what it means to exist without a goal, right?
Yes.
And even then, technically, there was a goal. The goal was to rest, the goal
Yeah.
was focusing on my healing,
Hmm.
right? And so I think that when we think of goals, we think of it from this space of achievement and productivity, right?
Yeah,
But sometimes the goal truly is sit your ass down and rest.
that part.
And I wonder, as I'm saying this out loud now, because so many of us are driven by having to identify a goal, I wonder for a lot of us if we reframed how we look at rest and we put rest in the category of a goal that we need to achieve, just like getting that promotion. If we put rest in that same mindset, how many of us would truly get more rest?
That is such a good point, girl. And I think many of us can relate to that, Dom, because as you were sharing that, I'm thinking about vacations I've taken over the past, let's say, 10 years. I can probably count on one hand vacations where I actually didn't do work. I usually always bring my laptop. And when I say work, I mean this could be like consulting work, right? This could be podcast stuff. Because
Yep,
girl,
yep,
I straight up taken PTO to focus on business and like the
yes,
podcast. So it's
yes.
like, I don't think to myself, this is what I'm facetiously saying to myself, bitch, you done took off time to get paid to do more motherfucking work. Why?
Why?
Because and I think part of it too is like being in a season of like, but we're building something, right? And
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you, at this point in time, after all the work that we've done and all the work that I've done for various, in various seasons, I'm so looking forward to retirement because when I say my black ass gonna be chilling, I'm
Listen,
going to be relaxing so
listen.
hard. And of course, I'll have a little pet project or a little side project that I do in a in a relaxed fashion where I'm not hustle,
Yes,
grind, grind,
yes.
grind, but like it's wild, girl. And I think the question, right, that we can ask ourselves, this is a question one of my mentors asked when I was younger. So it really helped me identify who I am outside of roles and titles. It's if you couldn't tell people what you do for work, how would you describe yourself?
Oh, that's a great question.
Right. And I will say
Mm-hmm.
the one thing that comes to mind for me, just because this is something that I sat with when I was younger, the first word for me would be like overcomer, right? I think about just overcoming in
Mm-hmm.
general, like different obstacles and things of that nature. But it's like that's a question we should ask ourselves, like outside of the title, the role, the resume, the LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
how would you describe yourself? Because that matters.
Yeah, it does.
And you're worthy without all the other stuff, right? Just the essence of who
Exactly.
you are. But it's
Hmm.
important for us to remember, like, who am I without all this extra stuff, without the titles, the mommy, wife, partner, whatever.
It's so important. So important.
Hmm.
And I think that leads to the next question of can you be content and still be ambitious, right? That this notion that being content means you're complacent. But is that true? Like is that legit? Is that for real? Like if I'm content, does that mean I'm complacent?
I don't think so. What about you?
No, I don't think so at all.
No. Look at
Like
your face. You're
because
like,
I'm
hell no.
like
Because I
I'm
feel
like
like
nah.
contentment is saying, like, I appreciate where I am. I appreciate what I've done.
Yes.
Complacency is like, well, okay. I stopped growing. I'm throwing the towel like I'm good. I feel like
We're
there's a
good.
difference. And you know what
Mm-hmm.
would be a really fun activity? If we all thought about, okay, boom, money's not a concern. I'm retired. I don't have to do shit that I don't want to do. And I'm living this
Mm-hmm.
life. I wake up in the morning. What does my life look like? What does my ideal life look like? How am I spending my time, my
Mm-hmm.
energy, who's around? Because when I think about that,
I
lifestyle,
already
which
know.
I'm
Whew, I'm ready
ambitiously
for it.
working toward. Listen, we get into it,
Listen.
okay? Yes, you
Listen.
can be content and still be ambitious. Because I think about projects, Dom, that are exciting and projects for me that don't feel like work. So, like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
content because of where I am, but I'm still ambitious. I'm still working on things, but it don't feel like work. It feels like
Yeah.
passion. It's fueling my life. It's energizing me. It's those things, those ideas that you think about when you're going to sleep at night, the inventions, the witty ideas, all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. It's like that's not even work. It's fun. So it doesn't feel like I'm, doing the hustle. I'm living out my purpose, you know?
Yes. Yes. I think for me, it's being appreciative of where I am currently
Mm-hmm.
and still making moves, still doing other
Yeah.
things, right?
Mm.
And those other things don't necessarily have to be huge, right? Because
Yeah.
I also think about this from a life development standpoint, that in the way in which we're socialized. So for me, it's career wise, like I'm in a space where technically I'm considered mid career, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just based on the number of years I've been in the field, I'm considered mid career. And so then the things that I had to accomplish, the boxes that had to be checked early in my career, because those things are checked, I'm good, right? Like I don't have to
Mm.
check those same boxes mid
Yeah.
career. Now, there are other boxes that I could check, but they're not required for me to do this work. They're
Yeah.
like nice to haves.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it's I'm content in terms of where I am career wise, right? I think when I look at that lifespan development, a lot, like for most people, it's okay, you go through school, you get a
Yeah.
job, you find a partner, you have some kids, you get older, your kids have kids, you take care of your aging parents, you take care of your kids, like, and things keep moving in those ways.
Hmm.
And so there's like, so there's focuses that we, things that we will all focus on depending on where we are in our stage of life, right?
Yeah.
So where I am now in this stage of life, for me, the goals that are important might not require as much intensity as things might have required years ago, right? And so, but I also know that as I get even older, like if I'm fortunate enough to live into the real elder years,
Hmm.
then the things that I'm working on in life are going to look different than
Yeah.
what they look like now. And it doesn't mean that I'm stagnant or complacent. It's just that based on where I am in this season in life, this is what is most important.
That is a beautiful point, and that makes 100% sense. I totally get that. Like what was required back then to kind of build the foundation of your career and life, you don't need to have that same hustle in this season. You kind of made it easier for yourself. And honestly, I'm so grateful looking back, kind of going off on a tangent, that I like went to school, like went because I'm with you after graduation for my bachelor's,
Yes.
like a month or so later, I was driving up to grad school. Like, let me get this shit done because I know if I take a break, I'm not going to do it. And so, like, just getting all the hard
Mm-hmm.
stuff done, the grind done, so that you can rest a little bit later, which is, ideal. But I know everyone has a different situation in life. So do what's best for you right now. But one of the other things I wanted to address too was like sometimes ambition, it's associated with lack. Like people think that, they're driven by like
Mm-hmm.
scarcity or,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's by curiosity or joy, but sometimes our next level, it can come from inspiration instead of trying to prove something.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to
Uh-huh.
be this like, oh, I gotta, like I was saying earlier, I gotta prove myself. It could be, I'm inspired by this idea. So the work doesn't feel like work, right? So just reminder
Yes.
that that could be what ambitious ambition looks like as well. All right. Let's move on to the next one here, which is the things we keep rushing past. So sometimes the things we once prayed for become the things that are normal to us, and we stop appreciating them.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Like you ever see that quote down where it's like, you're living in the moment that you prayed for or something like that, where it's like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
sometimes we just get so accustomed to it because it becomes mundane. It's like, oh yeah, I did wish and pray for this role or this season, and it's like now I have it. Like I have this stable
Yeah.
relationship or good health or peace or financial stability or either motherhood moments. I think about when I was trying to manifest my baby, and I was struggling with fertility for like 5 years, and now I have her, and it's like just thinking about all the things that we may have now that we once prayed for, and are we appreciating them, right? Or are we just again on to the next thing?
Listen, that makes me think about like somebody once told me to, I saw somewhere about like wearing the things that are in your closet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that there are things that might be in your closet. I know for me that I'm like, okay, this is for a special occasion. This is for, this is not the everyday thing that I'm going to wear to work.
Yeah.
And so I look at it from that perspective, right? That there are things that I do kind of hold for like a special occasion,
Yeah.
but how am I appreciating the things, the everyday things, like the everyday outfits in my closet? Like,
Yeah.
do I take them for granted?
Mm-hmm.
Or do I actually appreciate and care for them and get excited about being able to wear these things? Or am I only focused on those special occasion pieces?
Yeah. That's so good. And girl, I don't know if you recall, but we did an episode about that where we talked about like using a good perfume now and stuff like that. I don't know
Yes,
if you recall in that
yes,
conversation, but when you said that, I was like, oh, I'm thinking about when we talked about that. Like, use your good stuff now. You pull out the good dishes, the good sheets. I remember my grandmother used to keep like china and has special dishes in the
yes.
little,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, the cupboard thing, whatever it was called. But it's like use that good stuff because again, life is precious. Okay, so I have a little activity for us. Maybe we can play
Okay.
along, Dom. We may not be able to off the top of our head do this, but lady, as you listen, maybe you can write this down in your journal as you're listening or in your phone. What in your life would have felt impossible, let's say 10 to 20 years ago, just to give us a broad spectrum? I know one for me is Baby Z because that was a journey, girl,
Uh,
Lord. And we documented on the podcast. But yeah, I would say
yes,
that's
we did.
one.
10 to
Mm.
20 years ago, that would have felt impossible living in California.
Oh.
Because outside of California, people view California as I mean, very expensive. California is very expensive, by the way. But
Hmm.
10 to 20 years ago, I would not have 15 years ago. Let me be more specific because I've been here like almost
Yeah.
9 years now.
Okay.
Um, 15 years ago, I wouldn't have believed that I would be able to be living in California.
Yeah. That's a good
And
one.
and and not just living in California, but thriving in California.
I love that one, Tom. And wait till you hear the one I'm going to mention. So I'm going to
Okay.
say having a top 1% podcast with millions of downloads and making
Listen.
money because girl, I just pulled this up on Google. Remember when we met at Hazel's and we were in that little
Yes.
cozy chair and we were like, "Oh yeah, we want to do something for Black women." What was that? 9 years ago because we did that before we launched, right? So it was like 9 years ago
8 years ago.
because we had
Eight.
the podcast.
Yeah, because I'm
Oh
doing the
yeah, because
math.
we
Yeah, because
launched
I moved
8 years
19,
ago
I mean 9 years ago. Lord, 19. I
or
moved
19.
9 years ago. So it
Okay,
was
so
eight
eight
years
years
ago when
ago.
we launched the podcast. Yes.
Girl. And us being like, we don't know how long this is gonna last. Like, even in our first episode, we're like, we might have this
Right?
3 years from now. And then, girl, look up, 8 years have
Eight
passed.
years. 8 years. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't. Oh my gosh. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, lady. So think about what's coming up for you. Like, what in life felt impossible 10 years ago that you're living right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else come to mind?
I think that's that. Listen, those are big things.
Those are good. And another question too is what have you stopped appreciating because it's become routine? I think this is just getting us to like lean into
Mm-hmm.
gratitude, right? Like what
Yeah.
have you stopped appreciating because it's become routine? And I often find that even though we may not have everything that we desire, right? Even though we still
Mm-hmm.
have goals on the list, when we ask or answer those questions and ask ourselves those questions and answer them, it gives us things to be grateful for, right? And we kind of
Yes.
remember and we're like, you know what? I'm actually pretty blessed. Like, look at
Man,
God. Look how far I've come,
listen.
you know?
I'm grateful for the the work that I get to do.
Yeah.
Like I don't take that for granted.
Yeah.
Like I think about the work that we do with the podcast. I also think about being a therapist. Like it is such a privilege to do this work, to sit with people in their healing, sit with people
Mm,
as they're working on helping them to achieve certain goals. Like it is truly a privilege. And I am every day, I continue to be amazed with the work that I do.
yeah. I love that so much. And I know younger Dom is proud of you. Like, go ahead, girl.
Yes, she is, girl,
Go
for
ahead,
real.
girl. And listen, speaking of go ahead, girl, the other thing to remember is that celebration should be a practice. And I think many of us
Yes.
need to hear that
Mm-hmm.
because my hunch, my assumption, I'm making some assumptions here is that you may not celebrate yourself as much as you should. And I know I'm guilty of that as well. So celebration doesn't have to wait for a massive milestone. Celebration
Nope.
can be acknowledging progress. It can be acknowledging pausing, or it can be just pausing in general. Pausing is the celebration sometimes.
Listen, for real.
That's it.
I just I want to give a shout out to our operations assistant. She knows who she is.
Listen,
And the work that she does for us behind the scenes. And recently, we crossed a milestone of having 400 episodes. And she mailed each of us a card to acknowledge that. And Terry and I both were like, say what now? We got 400 episodes. When did that happen? Like we missed it.
you
Like
got
it was,
yours.
yes, I have mine right here as well. Like
Yay.
yes.
She's the
And
best.
so yes, she is the best. And the fact that she remembered and acknowledged that for us, like
Mm-hmm.
celebrated
Yeah.
that for us, and we were like, say what? We had totally
Yeah.
forgotten, you know, and
Girl.
usually it's so funny because literally in the beginning, we were really
Yes.
good about marking these milestones, right?
Yes.
And here we are, we've been so in the weeds of like the changes that we're making. And ladies, stay tuned because we'll be making announcements shortly about the changes that are coming. But yeah, we just have been so in the weeds that we forgot about it.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Dawn, because our podcast operations assistant, she is very, or podcast operations manager, I'm about to call her the big boss because she be running shit behind the
Listen,
scenes, okay?
listen.
She's private, so we're not going to call her out by name, but she knows who she is. And we just really appreciate you, lady, for all the work that you do and you helping us keep this community running, with our weekly episodes and all that you do. And lady, as you listen to the episode, send her some good energy, even though you don't know who she is, send her some good energy as well, because this helps us keep everything running. And it's important for us to remember to celebrate ourselves and also our community, like those around us as we're on this journey of being ambitious women, because some of us may have support from whether it's family, friends, partners. And so I think this is just a reminder for us to celebrate the journey, ourselves, and those around us who are helping us get there.
Yes, yes.
Good transition.
And yes, it is because, this final piece is the idea of what if there is no arrival, right?
Mm,
What if life isn't about finally becoming? What
yeah.
if life really is about learning how to appreciate yourself as you are still evolving?
Yes. That is so powerful and so beautiful. And I think many people are chasing like a future self. I know I was, right? Chasing or the perfectly healed self or the successful self or the perfectly evolved self. And like, what if that version doesn't exist? Like Dom said, that is such a powerful question. Like, what if it's all about learning how to appreciate, love, value who you are right now as you evolve as a human at every stage and phase?
Yeah, yeah. Mm.
Just taking it in.
like I'm really sitting with it because it goes back to what I was mentioning at the beginning of our
Mhm.
conversation about recognizing that we each stage of life looks different, and there's something new in each stage.
Yeah.
And so yeah, the who am I in my 40s, right? Certainly different than who I was in my 30s. Who am I going to be in my 50s, my 60s, my 70s, my 80s, hopefully my 90s, right? Like, who am I evolving to be?
Mm,
And how will I celebrate and appreciate each of those next stages?
hmm.
And
Yeah.
yes, there are going to be certain goals, right? Like, I want to have a clean bill of health. And so, what does that look like? What does that require? Right now, for me, that requires reevaluating how I eat, what I eat, prioritizing sleep, working out and having physical movement, and rest, which we've talked about ad nauseum about how that is different from sleep.
Mm,
And none of those things are tied to productivity goals. Some people might view it as that, but those those things don't feel, for me right now, like hard, impossible goals to focus on.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you brought those up too, Don, because I feel like people don't often think of those as goals. It's like we kind of take them for granted at times, but it's like, no, that those are important goals because they help us be in a space where we can do the other things that we want to do, right? And I think it's also important to remember that growth is a lifelong process, right? Growth is not a destination. It's literally a relationship. And every season teaches us something new and different. And so as we continue to travel on this journey as ambitious women, it's important for us to remember, like, who am I when I'm not working? How would I describe myself outside of the titles and roles that I have? Like, how would I describe me as a human being, right? Not a human doing. And
Yes.
so, yeah, some things to think about.
All right, lady, be sure to catch us in the after show. And if you aren't watching us on YouTube yet, come on over to YouTube. You've been asking for it and we're giving it to you. So come on and check us out. Thanks for tuning into Cultivating Her Space. Remember that while this podcast is all about healing, empowerment, and resilience, it's not a substitute for therapy. If you or someone you know needs support, check out resources like Therapy for Black Girls or Psychology Today. If you love today's episode, do us a favor and share it with a friend who needs some inspiration. Or leave us a quick 5-star review. Your support means the world to us and helps keeps this space thriving.
And before we meet again, repeat after me. I move in alignment, not urgency. What's meant for me responds to me. Keep thriving, lady, and tune in next Friday for more inspiration from Cultivating Her Space. In the meantime, be sure to connect with us on Instagram at Her Space Podcast.